What's up, YouTube? Agent Zero here, and today I'm going to be doing a comparison video between Bygones and Go Figure. These are two staple guns, two pulse rifles in Destiny 2 Forsaken that have been doing really well since Forsaken is dropped. And I'm going to get into the differences between these two guns, and at the end I'm going to give my opinion on which one I prefer and why. So first, let's get into some of the statistics of these two guns. Now for the stats, the Go Figure has better impact, range, stability, rounds per minute, and magazine size. Now these are all base stats, while the Bygones has better handling and reload speed. Now, one of the hidden stats that you can't see when looking at these two guns, and remember, if you do compare these two guns, there's a bunch of things that can factor in, such as modifications or masterwork. So these are just the base stats of these two guns. But one of the hidden stats that I'd like to talk about, aim assistance, is actually much greater on the Bygones than it is on the Go Figure. Now this could actually be a plus or a minus, really depends on how much aim assistance you want, but it's a stat that I like to throw out there. Now there are random rolls with Forsaken, and there are 4 perks that the Go Figure can get that the Bygones cannot, and 2 perks that the Bygones can get that the Go Figure cannot. So let's talk about the 2 that the Bygones has that are specific to this gun that the Go Figure cannot get. One is opening shot, where you have improved accuracy and range on the opening shot of the attack. The second is slide shot, where sliding partially reloads the weapon's magazine and temporarily boosts range and stability. The 4 on the Go Figure that you can get that the Bygones cannot get, one is Hipfire Grip. That's pretty self-explanatory. You have Zen Moment, one of my favorite perks, causing damage with the weapon increases stability. Firmly planted, increase accuracy, stability, and handling while firing while crouched, and then moving target, increase movement speed and target acquisition when moving while aiming down the sights. So we talked about the stats, we've talked about the perks. Let's get into the subjective part of the review, where I give my opinion on each of these two guns and which one I prefer and why. I'm also going to give some other stats and statistics that I've researched. So first, let's talk about the usage of these two guns. About a month ago, before the most recent DLC Black Armory was released, you could look up the stats of these two guns, or the usage of these two guns, and the Bygones would have been number 2 most used gun in the Crucible, while Go Figure was actually number 4. Since the release of the most recent DLC in Destiny 2, they've dropped a little bit, but not too much. The Bygones is actually now at number 3, and Go Figure is at number 6. So these are two guns that are still vastly used throughout the Crucible, and there's a good reason. Both of these guns are absolutely fantastic to use when in PvP, so whichever gun you do end up choosing, you're probably going to do well with either one. It probably depends a little bit on your play style, how you're using the gun, or which gun just feels better to you. So that's kind of just where I stand on that. I actually love both these guns, but let's dive a little bit further into them. So I did go over the different perks that you could get that are exclusive to these two guns. And when we look at those, I'm going to give the edge to the Go Figure. And that's because Zen Moment is one that stands out as a very good perk, as opposed to all of the other perks are really, in my opinion, just not worth it. So Zen Moment kind of tips the perks in favor of the Go Figure. Stat-wise, this probably depends on your play style a little bit. Both of these guns are very good in the Crucible. I've done well with both of them, and that is going to lead me into talking about the 2 best games that I've had in the Crucible to date in Destiny 2. One was with the Go Figure, and one was with Bygones. With Bygones, I ended up getting 39 kills, but that's not the highlight. I ended up getting a 20 kill streak, which is extremely hard to get, but I was able to do that with the Bygones. With the Go Figure, I got my most kills in the Crucible to date. I think it was 46. So my top 2 games in the Crucible have been with each of these 2 guns. That tells you just how well you can do with either of these 2 guns. With that being said, let's talk about the poll that I posted on Bungie.net. I actually got a lot of responses, which is awesome. I think I got about almost 400 responses, and of those 400 responses, about 71%, a little bit over 71% actually, preferred the Bygones to the Go Figure. So that's something that just tips the scale in favor of the Bygones a little bit. There are a lot of people who do prefer the Bygones over the Go Figure. So, personal preference. What do I think of these 2 guns? Again, I've mentioned it before. Both of these 2 guns are great. I've done well with both of them. I can pick up either of these 2 guns and be confident that the Crucible match that I go into, I'm probably going to do well because these 2 guns are just that reliable. So first, let's talk about the Crucible. Which of these 2 guns has my edge? Well, I'm going to give it to the Bygones. Despite the fact that Go Figure does have Zen Moment and some of the cool stats, if you will, like impact and range, I do like Bygones a little bit better. I love having that extra handling. And Go Figure, despite the fact that it does win out on stability, it's not by a lot, and I like being able to move my gun back and forth a little bit more. So in that respect, I'm going to give my edge in PvP to Bygones. In PvE, it's probably just like in PvP, going to depend on your playstyle. I'm going to say that Go Figure is probably a little bit more of a ranged gun. If you like to play a little bit more at range, you're probably going to prefer the Go Figure a little bit better because it does have the better range. It does have the better stability. So you're probably going to do a little bit better range with the Go Figure. If you like to be a little bit more medium range to maybe a little bit closer range, the Bygones is probably going to take it. Now, these are 2 pulse rifles, as I've mentioned earlier. So Zen Moment, while good, it actually doesn't affect too much. Again, all of the specific perks to each of these guns isn't going to be amazing. Zen Moment may be a little bit, but not as much as you'd think on a pulse rifle. So when we're looking at PvE, it's probably going to depend on the role you get on each of these 2 guns. One thing that I forgot to mention is where you can obtain these 2 guns, and I'm sorry I didn't mention that earlier. The Bygones is a drop from Gambit, so playing Gambit, you can also actually buy it from the Drifter, depending on how far you've gotten in Gambit. So go to the Drifter, you can purchase it fairly easily. It has its set role. Go Figure is a random drop, so both of these guns are pretty easy to obtain. No matter which one you want, you can buy the Bygones or Go Figure. I think since I started playing in Destiny 2 Forsaken, I've probably gotten about 7 to drop or so. So it's not too hard to get either of these 2 guns. So when it comes down to it, which one of these guns do I prefer and why? We've talked about the stats where the Go Figure has a couple better stats and the Bygones has a couple of better stats. As I said before, depending on your playstyle, the Go Figure is probably a little bit longer of a range playstyle, where the Bygones is probably a little bit closer of a range playstyle. The perks, there's only one perk that really stands out that's pretty good compared to the others that the Go Figure can get and the Bygones can't, and that's Zen Moment. But other than that, all of the perks are very good. You have your Rampage, your Kill Clip, your Outlaw that you can get on both of these 2 guns. You can also get Rangefinder if you're into that, or High Impact Reserves, both on both of these guns. So when it comes down to it, despite the fact that the Go Figure has a little bit more of an edge in perks, I'm still going to go overall. I am going to side with the majority of the poll this time with the Bygones. Now, if you guys are interested, I did do a comparison video of the Tiger Spite and Hazard of the Cast. So check that video out if you're interested in that. And I'm going to be posting a lot more videos on Destiny 2. I'm going to come out with a Way of the Wind Hunter Arcstrider build extremely soon. I'm working on that. I've been pretty busy lately with stuff, but I am working on some things, and I'm going to come out with much more Destiny 2 videos. So if you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more Destiny 2 content. Well, until next time, peace.